Sanatana means eternal, and Dharma means occupation, duty, or which cannot be separated from the entity. It's called Dharma. Hare Krishna. After a grand celebration of Janmashtami, here we are here back with a Thursday episode of Folk Life. Today we're going to discuss about the most controversial topic which is being spoken by all the political parties, the National Democratic Alliance, the I.N.D.I.A bloc of the opposition. And today the Honorable Prime Minister also spoke about the people who speak against Sanatana Dharma and be careful about them. So what is this all controversy? Anyways, you all know about the controversy. Now, what is the real, spiritual, actual, realistic perspective of Sanatana Dharma in this particular talk we're going to discover through the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. Before that, fold your hands, close your eyes and offer these prayers after me. Then we'll start. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. For the last couple of days, the whole political scenario has been heated up after one popular South Indian politician son made the statement that Sanatana Dharma is like a dengue or malaria and it has to be eradicated. And a lot of people supported him and a lot of people went against him. They said, how can you abolish or eradicate or finish Sanatana Dharma? Sanatana is eternal. The arguments flew left, right, center, and now it's still continuing. It will continue till another 1 year until the election gets over. So that's a different issue altogether. Now, as Krishna conscious devotees who understand the real meaning of Sanatana Dharma, it's imperative and important for us to put across the real meaning of Sanatana Dharma. Prabhupada put it across a very beautiful way. In Bhagavad Gita also Krishna speaks about Sanatanas. There are many Sanatanas. One, the living entity is Sanatana. Krishna is also Sanatana. He is also eternal. We are also eternal. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. And there is eternal Dharma, which is the loving relationship with him, what the Jiva has with the Krishna. And the place where that loving reciprocation can be experienced or put into practice, that is called Sanatana Dharma. And Krishna personally comes down to this place to portray this experience to all of us. So Sanatana is eternal. There are two words in this, Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal and Dharma means occupation, duty, or which cannot be separated from the entity. It's called Dharma. We'll take two words separately and bisect those understanding and discuss further. I would implore and request all of you to please put questions to me on the chat section so that I can take up. Based on this, the subject can be elaborated. Otherwise, my talk on Sanatana will be basically 10 to 15 minutes. So here we go. Sanatana means eternal. So that means that set of religion. Of course, Dharma cannot be equally translated as religion. I'll come to that point. It has no beginning or end. On the strength of the statement given by Ramanujacharya, we can clearly understand that Sanatana Dharma has no beginning and then no end. It is eternal. Where is the question of eradicating? We have to live it. It's another thing which you don't follow. That's a different thing. But you cannot undo it. You cannot abolish it. You cannot completely eradicate it. It's an eternal thing which exists. One who doesn't follow Asat Dharma, Sanatana Dharma and Asat Dharma. Asat Dharma means temporary Dharma. There are so many temporary Dharma. But Bhagavad Gita doesn't speak about temporary Dharmas. Arjuna was speaking about temporary Dharmas, Kula Dharma, Sanatana, all those things. But later on, Krishna gives so many other Dharmas and finally gives his eternal, unavoidable Dharma. And that is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tava Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Shami. Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Here Krishna uses the word Dharma. You give up all varieties of so-called Dharma. And what is that eternal Dharma? Mam ekam sharanam vrajat. This is the eternal dharma which Krishna wanted to propagate through Bhagavad Gita, which is our constitutional make, which is our eternal make, which is we are made up of. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loka Jiva Bhutana Sanatana again. So there is a loving relationship between the Jiva and the Supreme Lord. Krishna says all these living entities are my anshas. Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, eternal. I'm also eternal, all of you are eternal. But you have forgotten that loving relationship. How we have forgotten that we had that iota of desire. Icha, Dvesha Samuttena. Icha, desire, Dvesha, enmity. Dvanda Mohena Bharata, because of an inherent independent desire to enjoy minus Krishna, and because of enviousness towards Krishna, we have come to this material world and we are suffering from the three kleshas. Adhyatmika klesha, Adi Bhautika klesha, Adi Daivika klesha. Adhyatmika klesha means suffering caused by body and mind. Our body gives lot of difficulties. No matter how hard you try with your science and technology, you cannot stop death, old age and disease. You cannot, this is the problems caused by the body. And there is another klesha, Adi Atmika klesha, suffering caused by body and the mind. Mind creates, today majority of the problem is because of the mind. The depression, the anxiety, the tension, the feeling of guiltiness, the feeling of loneliness, it's all caused by the uncontrolled mind. Mind has become the greatest enemy. All sinful, devouring soul of the enemy, that is lust, is in the form of mind. It is sitting on the place. It's sitting in the mind, sitting in the place of senses and harassing us. Then Adi Bhautika Klesha. Adi Bhautika Klesha is a suffering caused by other living entities. You may be simple, gentleman, etc., etc., etc. But other living entities who are envious of you may give you trouble. You might be walking on a street and a dog might bite you, or a mosquito might bite you and you may fall sick with malaria. And your professors, your in-laws, your husband, wife, your children, the prime minister, other living entities creating problem. Yes, and there are Adi Daivika Klesha. Morocco has earthquake, Himachal Pradesh has a flash floods, tsunamis, earthquakes, forest fire, flash floods, famine. These are Adi Daivika Klesha, suffering caused by the higher living entities. So Jiva, although it is eternal, it is taking birth after birth in different species of life, forgetting Krishna. Krishna bhul liya jiva bhogavancha kare. Forgetting Krishna, the jiva, living entities who are eternal, who are sanatana, has forgotten Krishna and wants to enjoy this material world. And because of which we are suffering with these three kleshas and we are trying to enjoy minus Krishna, and that's why we are unhappy. And above and all this, there are four further klesha: Janma, birth, death, old age and disease. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vadi, Dukkha, Dosha, Anudarshanam. This Sanatana Dharma is actually meant to remind we Sanatana, by the original Sanatana, Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, our eternal loving Sanatana relationship with Krishna. And that is possible, that is been done by the Supreme Lord Himself. 5,250 years ago, He appeared in this material world to teach that Sanatana Dharma. He instructed Arjuna about Sanatana Dharma in the Bhagavad Gita. And He instructed us finally in the essence of Bhagavad Gita that the 18.6 is, give up all varieties of so-called religion and just surrender unto me. This is eternal religion. This is eternal Dharma. Because we have to surrender. There's no other option. Anyone who says, I'm not surrendered to anyone, is a fool, number one. Either he surrendered to his senses, either he surrendered to his boss, either to his parents, either to his in-laws, either to his loving wife or bossing wife or husband, whatever, or his friend, or the political ideology, or the nation, or the country. He has to serve. That is his inherent nature. That is aspect of Dharma. Sanatana is eternal. Dharma means occupation or duty or set of rules and regulations. Another understanding of, that's a different understanding. So Dharma to Sakshat Bhagavat Pranita. Dharma cannot be manufactured by you and me. Dharma is a set of rules and regulations or the direction given by the Lord. And that direction is spoken directly by the loving Lord in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Of course, people cannot understand this. To make it more understandable, the Supreme Lord himself came as servant of Supreme Lord, devotee of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the incarnation of Krishna himself. In fact, Krishna himself, he gave the meaning of Sarva Dharman Parityaja as to simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we get the ability to surrender to Krishna. You don't have to change your position. You don't have to give up anything. You don't have to change your hairstyle. You don't have to give up your occupation. Whichever occupation you're doing, being in that position, just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you actually follow the Sanatana Dharma. And Srila Prabhupada tells us, propagating this message of Krishna consciousness is the true Sanatana Dharma. That is which is going to make people actually happy, because we are Krishna's amsha, mamai vamsha, Krishna says in the Gita. We are connected to Krishna in such a way that we have literally no other option other than to serve him. Instead of serving him, we are serving everyone, including a dog. But that serving should give us happiness. Unfortunately, by serving by so many other living entities, so many other personalities, ideology or people or things or nation, we are not satisfied. We are frustrated. That means that is not your eternal occupation. By eternal occupation is Jivera Sorupa Hoe Krishnera Nitya Dasa. Constitutional position of a jiva is to render loving, sweet, devotional service to Krishna. And that is what Krishna is asking in the Bhagavad Gita. And that has been made very easy, very simple, very subtle, very sublime, very joyful by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Simply, sthane sthita shruti gata, whichever position you are in, be in that position and simply chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and re-establish our lost relationship with Krishna and establish our loving, sweet relationship with Krishna. That constitution is Swarupa. Swarupa means constitution. Just like this hand, Swarupa, constitution is to render seva to the stomach. It is designed in such a way, it has no other option other than to serve the stomach. If it goes for a rebel, it goes for a hallabol, it goes for a strike. Say, the parts of the bodies, the hands, the legs, and the other parts of the body, they convene a meeting, say G20 meeting, and they decide the stomach is the only guy who's enjoying all of us. We are really working hard and we have to boycott its enjoyment. Let us not fill the belly. And they go for a strike. And eventually over a period of time, 2 days, 3 days, they all feel weak, withered, and completely shattered. They realize their mistake and they start doing what they were actually meant for, they're designed for, manufactured for. Feed the stomach, come what may. And automatically, naturally, everyone got their energy back and their josh back, and they started working efficiently, effectively, and productively, and they were really happy. That is how we are made. Because we are not doing that activity of serving Krishna, we are all acting against our constitution. The hand not serving the stomach. Jiva not serving the Supreme Lord, which is his eternal constitutional position, Sanatan Dharma, that is Dharma, to serve Krishna, which is not being done by the people at large. That's why the colossal problems, people all across the globe are suffering because of this. That's why the Supreme Lord personally comes to this miserable world, this material world, which is considered to be jail. He comes down to this material world and tells that, you're all my sons, you're all my anshas. I love you all. Please come back to me. Don't get entangled into all these things. He puts Arjuna into that living entity's condition. He poses as an normal jiva who's into difficulty, and he poses a lot of questions to Krishna, and Krishna clarifies those questions lovingly. Just like mother-in-law teaches the daughter-in-law by teaching her daughter. In the same way, Krishna teaches the whole world about Sanatana Dharma by teaching his own devotee, Arjuna. On behalf of Arjuna, On behalf of all of us, Arjuna is asking this most fundamental questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What is the purpose of life? Why am I suffering? Who is Krishna? What happens after death? All these are principles of Sanatana Dharma, which Krishna gives the answers to lovingly in 584 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. And another meaning of dharma is, just like dharma of sugar is sweetness, dharma of salt is to be salty, and dharma of water to be is to liquid. If you remove sweetness from the sugar, that is not sugar. If you remove saltiness from the salt, it is not salt. That is not the dharma of the salt. If you remove liquidity from the water, that is not the dharma of the water. In the same way, the dharma, the eternal activity or occupation of the jiva, living entity, atma or people, is to render service. Everyone and anyone living is rendering service. He cannot say, I am not rendering service to anyone. Even the Prime Minister of the country says, I am Pradhan Sevak. The person who made the statement is also serving the countrymen or the statesman or whichever state he belongs to. So that seva is there. But instead of serving according to the constitution, for the jiva was designed, manufactured, they are rendering service in a perverted way. And because as long as they are serving in a perverted way, there will be chaos and confusion and hatred and suffering. So now another meaning of dharma is set of rules and regulations that has to be given by the Supreme Lord. I cannot manufacture. There might be Hindu religion, Muslim religion, Christian religion. So that is not eternal religion. That is according to our faith. Religion is also called as faith. Today I have faith for Hindu religion. Tomorrow my faith may change to Islam. Day after tomorrow I may change to Christian religion or any religion, or I may become atheist. So that is not actual dharma. Dharma means which cannot be separated. You have to serve. But unfortunately, we are serving anyone and everyone apart from the Supreme Lord Krishna. The whole process of Krishna consciousness movement is to tell you that you are eternal. He is eternal. You are Sanatana. He is Sanatana. And we have an eternal loving relationship. That is called Sanatana Dharma. And there is eternal place beyond this temporary material world. That is Sanatana Dharma, the supreme spiritual abode where we are all come from. And Krishna is inviting all of us to go to his place. And when he comes down to this material world, he brings that eternal spiritual Goloka Vrindavana with him. That Vrindavana is still there in this earthly planet for all of us to go and take association of that. That Vrindavan Dham is non-different from the original abode. Whenever the Prime Minister visits the jail, it is not that the Prime Minister has come because of he has committed a crime. He on his own sweet will wants to go and see what are the people in the jail are doing. So if it's possible, can I take them out? So entire Prime Minister office comes down to the say Sabarmati jail, Siagra Central jail. He is not subjected to the laws of the jail. He is above the jail. He is the law maker. Similarly, when the Lord appears, few people deride him to be a human being. But he is not so. He is above all those things. And that loving relationship which we have with Krishna is called Sanatana Dharma. And we have forgotten that Sanatana Dharma. So that's why Krishna personally comes down, as I said, and he leaves this Bhagavad Gita. He makes his devotee ask these questions, and still we don't surrender to Krishna. Krishna comes down, as I said, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, gives this wonderful way to surrender. Chant Hare Krishna and Prasadam. To make that understand, he sends further acharyas. He trains up the Goswamis, including Sanatana Goswami, again Sanatana Goswami. And there, further acharyas, Rupa Goswami, the 6 Goswamis, the other acharyas, and finally Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, and finally our dear most Swami Prabhupada. He establishes 108 temple. He establishes farm communities. He authors 80 plus books to make us understand our eternal Sanatana religion, Sanatana Dharma, and Satana. It tells about that Sanatana abode, Sanatana place, that is Sanatana relationship. Through his teachings, through his personal letters to his 6,000 letters to his devotees, disciples, establish a worldwide organization. And his disciples further enlighten us with this message of Bhagavad Gita to make us understand that loving, sweet relationship. And when we establish our loving, sweet relationship with Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, especially if we do 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is naturally awakened. It's not an artificial imposition of the mind. It is the nature of the spirit. That's how it is made. We all want to especially in the developing countries or third world countries, we want to go to developed countries. Why? Because we have heard about the kind of facilities, kind of lifestyle what people in the developed countries lead. That's what excites us to go to that place. But even if you go to the best of the developed countries, they say America or China or Japan or France or United Kingdom, still you cannot escape from birth, old age and disease. You have to go through Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika Kleshas. But Krishna is inviting to that place, that place from where you don't have to come back to this material world. Parastasmatu bhavonyo Vekto Vekta Sanatanaha Yasa Sarvabhuteshu Nashyatsu Na Vinashyati. Yet there is another nature which is eternal, Sanatana, which is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme. It is never annihilated. When all this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Krishna is inviting to that place. Yad Gatva Na Nivartante Tad Dhamam Paramama Na Tad Bhashyate Suryo Na Shashanka Na Pavaka. There is no sunlight, there is no moonlight, there is no electricity, no fire. It's self-effulgent. Anyone who goes to that eternal Sanatana abode will never come back to this material world. Krishna promises that. The whole endeavor of Krishna, Krishna's pure devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the organization ISKCON is to establish that Sanatana Dharma, that Sanatana Dharma, to go back to that Sanatana Dharma. And the process is called Sanatana Dharma to get back to that original abode. This is what Krishna is telling in the Bhagavad Gita. And that supreme abode is called unmanifested, infallible. It is a supreme destination. When one goes there, he never comes back. That is my supreme abode. And if you worship any other personality other than the supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, that place where the devatas are also temporary or material. If you go there, you have to again come back to this material world. Punaravartino Arjuna. Abrahma Bunaloka Punaravartino Arjuna. But this Sanatana Dharma, which Krishna is calling us, is our original abode. Once you go there, you'll never come back. And Krishna is inviting all of us, Acharyas, especially our loving spiritual master, Swami Prabhupada, is requesting all of us, simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, taking this prasadam, following the four regulative principles, associating with devotees, coming and attending the association of devotees, we easily tread this path of devotional service, which is Sanatana Dharma actually, and we go back to Godhead. So with this, I stop here, and we all folks have this wonderful opportunity to go to that eternal abode, even in this material body. That abode which is non-different from the supreme abode, Sanatana abode, which is bought by Krishna when he appeared in this material world 5,000 years ago. That Vrindavana is still there. This October during Kartik, we are all going there. So I would request all of you to come and join us to this wonderful journey to Vrindavan Dham, where you can experience the bliss of being in the original Vrindavan Dham, where the place where Krishna lifted the Govardhana, the Yamuna, the Vrindavan Dham, the gopis, the Vrajavasis, the sand which he played, the mud which he ate, all these things are still existing and giving a proof of his existence. That Sanatana eternal Dhamma is still there. The whole material world is annihilated. These eternal Dhammas which Krishna brought along with will not be annihilated. That's a specialty of this such dhammas. When we go to such dhammas, associate with pure devotees, our loving eternal Sanatana relationship with the Lord is re-established. And the whole process is Sanatana. Nobody in the world can eradicate it. It is who can eradicate which has no beginning and no end. Other things have come into existence as an end date and a beginning date. This doesn't have an end date or beginning date. It is eternal. And Krishna is that our eternal relationship. So we need to re-establish that relationship. For that we need to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and follow the Srila Prabhupada's instructions sincerely, seriously, strictly. Okay? With this, I stop here. Hopefully I could touch this point from different angles of vision.